Hello and welcome. This is James. I know, what a disappointment. Nonetheless, since sleep is for the weak, let's architect it, shall we? So, you might ask yourself a question of, what happened, James? Where have you been for the last 2 years or so? Well, life's been a roller coaster and stuff happened, really. But the last 10 months I've spent doing my master's degree. Why did I do that? Well, because I like pain and suffering, and doing an architecture degree brings plenty of it. But I think instead of me telling everything, I'd rather show you. So, last Wednesday I had a panel review of my portfolio, and to sort of celebrate it and get back into YouTube, I thought it would be a nice idea to actually show you my portfolio. There's going to be some commentary in the end and also some housekeeping stuff, so please stay till the end. But for now, let's just get back into it. Just a small side note, I have uploaded the portfolio to issue.com, so if you would like to go and see it, the link would be in the description. Just some details. My name is James Osborne. I'm a 4th year architecture master's degree student at London Metropolitan University, and this is my sort of design studio portfolio. The title of this portfolio is Temenos. It's Greek for temple, meaning to separate a place from the rest of the land. The temple is separated both physically and legally, making it the ultimate place of protection. London has been heavily hit by deindustrialization. It's especially dramatic in the historically industrial borough of Battersea. Red zones on the map show industrial areas that have either been converted or are planned to be converted into residential areas, thus completely eradicating the industrial heritage. This forces industries to either relocate or close altogether, sending plenty of usable industrial equipment to scrapyards. My project explores the idea of an intervention of a civic building as means of replacing the complex and disjointed urban fabric of Battersea. The proposal consists of a new industrial complex housing both a museum of industrial heritage and new workshops, providing both production spaces for local industries as well as learning facilities for the public. My site has a rich industrial history, but it also suffered from deindustrialization. Old factories were demolished in 1980s and the site was split into two. Plantation Worth, a mixed-use development comprised of offices and residential units to the north, and a large home-based store with car parks to the south. Nevertheless, 40 years later, it is all happening again. The home-based store was closed in 2019 and later demolished. Construction of 3 residential blocks had begun. This is the northeast site elevation along the York Road. Home-based redevelopment is in the foreground, Plantation Worth is in the background. This is the northwest site elevation along the Gardens Way. Plantation Worth to the left, home-based redevelopment to the right, and some new residential developments at the back. Exploring the idea of Temenos on my site. In The Possibility of Absolute Architecture, Pier Aureli wrote, "Architectural form is a boundary, demarcating territory rather than representing it." Now let's focus on Plantation Worth, since it's a great example of this idea. It's a city within a city, where internal streets are separated from the rest of the urban fabric by a surrounding wall. This is a section through Plantation Worth, exploring one of the internal streets. The threshold between two zones is crucial in creating a smooth transitional experience. In this case, it's complex but also rather underwhelming. Let's see if it could be improved by combining it with another building. Kessler Chapel was built in 1963 in Belgium by Julian Lampens. It replaced a Gothic chapel that burned down in 1961. The new chapel consists of a complex space sandwiched between the roof and the floor. The design achieves a strong spatial temenos by syncing the entire platform on which the building sits. Tremendous importance is placed on the journey. A visitor moves through a series of external and internal spaces with alternating sizes, extending the transition period and thus blurring the boundary between inside and outside. Making a 1:20 scale model of the entrance sequence helped to extract the essence of the projects. This was then combined with the 1:20 model of the archway to create a new spatial experience. The integration process was very challenging, since there was a strong desire to break the vicious circle of construction, demolition, construction, demolition. Intervening in the lightest way possible was a priority. Hence, an additive approach had to be adopted in order to create an entirely new experience, which proved to be a success. Not only did this create a new civic place, but also created a new transitional experience in the process. At this stage, the unit went on a study trip to Berlin. The idea of temenos in Schinkel's building was particularly important. Temenos as a plinth in the 1825 Glienicke Palace porch. Temenos as a colonnade in the Berlin National Gallery. It was so impressive that a modern timber interpretation was tried. Combination of both ideas is present in the Altus Museum, which is the first ever purpose-built exhibition space. Interestingly, the journey sequence of alternating spaces is reminiscent of the castle. How does this relate to the new museum in Battersea? Well, the initial proposal consisted of Altus that landed in Battersea. The scheme was very traditional in its approach, with a museum space at the top and a separate workshop space in the basement. The entire site was surrounded by a colonnade. However, the COVID-19 lockdown has thrown a spanner in the works, disrupting the entire world. Making Altus in Battersea is not a viable option during crisis. The COVID-19 pandemic has split history into a known past, a constantly changing present, and an unknown future. What if the developer responsible for the residential scheme goes bankrupt and the site stays vacant for the next 5 to 10 years? Could the thing that destroyed industries be their savior? One must look at a psychiatric clinic by ADVT when it comes to making weather-sealed spaces within a found structural artifact. Here, anyone can witness an in-progress therapy session that takes place within one of the transparent greenhouses, placed within the structural skeleton of an old psychiatric clinic. This means that workshops placed within a transparent enclosure could also act as a museum. The party of the project follows that of Keslara Chapel, a space between two planes. The first step is to make the new plinth by extending the existing surface to the edge of the site. The second step is to create a new timber roof covered in PTFE cushions. The new structure would be supported by existing ground floor columns. Just like the Keslara Chapel, the 1968 new National Gallery by Mies van der Rohe is also a space between two planes. The design has two levels, a flexible ground floor and a fixed basement, which is identical to that of the found artifact in Battersea. The temenos in this project is represented by a simple plinth, which separates architecture from the urban fabric. Nonetheless, when the visitor ascends the plinth, they can freely wander around. My proposal for the new museum follows the same principles. The ground floor is a flexible open-plan event space placed on the plinth. The use of movable curtains and mobile benches allows for easy space transformation. It has minimum indoor space. This includes a large CNC room, a cafe, an auditorium, and a book/shop. All workshops are located in the basement. These are a wood and metal workshop with CNC rooms, a painting workshop, a clay/ceramics workshop, and a printing workshop. All of the internal concrete block partitions of the original schemes were complete when the pandemic hit, so the additive approach from the transcription exercise had to be applied here. In the end, it was possible to house everything within the existing layout. The original concrete structure and partitions are shown in red. The workshops are penetrated by publicly accessible zones, shown in darker grey, so that the events taking place in them are clearly visible to the public. This is an ISO with roof structure removed. The scheme is more complex than the new National Gallery. It does have a facade and internal courtyard, so another precedent was needed. A housing block by Ungers in Berlin achieves experiential transparency by wrapping an identical facade all the way from outside to inside. This is the main section through the proposal. Identically to both Ungers and ADVT, external elements like trees, benches and street lamps were added to achieve greater feeling of exteriority. The entire roof structure is covered in metal cladding. This is another section, this time through the central axis of the building. The existing concrete lift shafts are covered in the same corrugated metal cladding in order to preserve them for any future developments. These are the detailed sections showing spatial relationships. This is a painting workshop, a cafe, the street and the roof, and then an auditorium, clay workshop, internal courtyard, and then the roof. This is a warm view ISO of the roof. An extensive use of layering and overlapping was used to further extend transition zones. The thermally protected zones are indicated in blue. The ground floor experience is reminiscent of the new National Gallery ground floor. The design relies on literal transparency using glass walls and movable translucent curtains. This is an entrance to the site, and then this is the ground floor internal/external spaces. The external cladding material had to be cheap, durable, demountable. It had to express an industrial essence and be reusable if possible. Hence, corrugated metal cladding was chosen. Metal chainmail is the best choice for flexible, translucent curtains. It's fairly cheap if bought in bulk, it's easy to clean, and it's durable. The color is red, since it's the color of the crisis, and most importantly, it reflects the surrounding red brick architecture. The basement level experience is reminiscent of the Artist Museum. In the basement, every exposed concrete surface is painted white. These are transparent workshop spaces. This is looking from outside in, and then this is inside one of the spaces. Just like the ground floor cladding, the basement material should also be cheap, durable, demountable, ideally represent an industrial essence, and be reusable if possible. Plywood was chosen this time. The proven assembly model used for side hoarding could be adapted in this case. The basement level employs phenomenal transparency. The 2.4 tall ply sheet datum allows for uninterrupted ceiling surface, giving a sense of a continuous space. A repeatable pattern that runs across the entire site helps to create an illusion of continuity, as seen both in the chapel and the new National Gallery. The cheapest 400 by 400 cement tiles are perfect for the job. They are durable, it's easy to get them on a second-hand market, and crucially for the design, they work perfectly with plywood dimensions. The new Battersea Industrial Centre challenges the conventional idea of what a contemporary museum should be like. It uses crisis as an opportunity to convert the cause of deindustrialization into a temporary beacon of hope. A temple where industry can thrive and where people can both learn the history of industrial machinery and how to use it. Thank you. At this stage, my speech was over. The panel had 5 minutes to literally question me on some of the decisions and some basic architectural stuff. But I also had a 2-minute video which I run in the background. So essentially I'm going to run this video in the background just like I did before, and I'm gonna comment some of the stuff. So this is it. Thank you for watching. This portfolio was not the only thing that was submitted. I also had a file called additional materials where I included all the sketches, all the research, all the technical drawings like 1 to 5 and 1 to 10, essentially like all the stuff that didn't really need to go into the portfolio but was still done, so I had to still show it. Regarding the portfolio, I'm quite happy about it. Like the graphical aspect of it I think is quite good. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Some of the stuff maybe 9, because I think, generally speaking, it's quite good. Like, the graphical elements were quite good, the layout is generally okay. Some of the pages are a bit overcrowded, but I think overall it's quite a solid portfolio. It's quite long though, but then, you know, it's just the way it is. So yeah, but when it comes to the actual architecture, here I'm a bit more skeptical. For me, the project is, it's sort of between 6 and 7. High 6, low 7. It's quite difficult to judge your own project. In a way, you kind of, you know, what you did well and what you did, you know, quite badly. So, for those who came just for the portfolio, this is it. Thank you for watching. You know, like, subscribe, share. Just do it! Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Let's_architecture. Very simple. And I'll see you in the next one. For my loyal subscribers, if there are any, I know that there's going to be like 1 or 2 at least. Thank you. I really appreciate it that you are here still after such a long period of absence. I'm sorry for being a bit, you know, rusty, because, you know, it's my first video after 2 years. Really, oh my god, shame on me. So, what's all this about? Well, I'm back, generally speaking. At least for the next 6 weeks before 5th year starts. But I'm planning to take this channel to a new level. I have plans to do vlogs, sort of architectural vlogs of my life in university, and I also want to have some tours around London, sort of exploring the architectural masterpieces that are, you know, scattered around the city, and there are plenty here, as well as having interviews with some cool architects. But I like the equipment. I can't film that on my phone, which I'm doing right now. It's a 5-year-old Galaxy Note 5. So I have set up a fundraiser on GoFundMe. Here it is. The link for this would be in the description. I'm trying to raise £1,500. This will pay for a camera, a lens, and a mic. So yeah, I understand it's difficult times. You know, not everybody can help, but you know, even if it's, you know, £1 or £5, I would really appreciate it. And you know, the sooner we get the money, the sooner we can get new content. So, you know, every little helps. Otherwise, just like the other folks, yeah, if you liked it, then like it and subscribe and share and all of that. You know the stuff. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for staying with me for so long. I know I've been a terrible creator, content creator, but hopefully it will change and all of this would be regular. So yeah, this was James. Yeah, again, yeah, I'm sorry if you're disappointed, but yeah, this is James. And yeah, thank you. See you in the next one.